Our hotel is at the centre of Montreal's vibrant and commercial district. It has 3 restaurants and over 1,000 rooms. It doesn't take long for sleepiness to set in after the long journey. This is Montreal and we're on top of the big red Route Master bus on the sightseeing tour.
Remain seated all the time when we're passing on the overpass.
We stay on the bus for the 2.5-hour tour to get an overview. We first pass the Cathedral Marie-Reine de Mont, through the commercial district and to Old Town. Montreal became the capital of Canada in 1844. The town hall was built in 1878. One can relax in the square, watch the world go by, or perhaps take a horse-drawn carriage ride. The low buildings and wide open spaces provide a pleasant respite from the busy city. This futuristic looking stadium was built for the 1976 Olympic Games. We pick up the car downtown and cross one of the 15 bridges, making our way to Trois-Rivières. This privately run hotel, set in its own grounds in the heart of the countryside, is high quality and gives us time to wind down and relax from the busy hubbub of Montreal. A 4-hour car ride takes us to the Saguenay Field and Le Bay. En route, we stop at the Bagotville Air Base. Opened in June 1967, this museum is the only one in the Quebec province dedicated to the history of military aviation and aeronautical heritage. The base was built in 1942 to train Royal Canadian Air Force pilots and to protect the Saguenay strategic aluminium and hydroelectric facilities during World War II. The MiG-22ML was presented to the base by the Czech Republic. The Piesky H-21 was a transport and search and rescue helicopter in use from 1968 to 1984. We've travelled 250 miles to be here today at Le Bay. Behind me is the beautiful Saguenay Field. The Saguenay-Lac St. John region abounds in attractions and breathtaking views. It is a protected area, frequented by beluga whales, dolphins, black bear and moose. Our hotel is situated right on the waterfront. The sign depicts the 21 people who first settled in the area in 1838. We are pleased with our bay view window and the standard of the accommodation is very good. For our next day we travel to the Charlevoix region. It's Monday the 27th of June and we're here at La Malbaie by the St. Lawrence River. Behind me is the Fairmont Hotel we're staying at. The Fairmont Le Manoir Richelieu was built in 1929 in the style of a French castle. The hotel is very palatial and even has its own casino. Our room has a comfortable bed and the usual amenities. It is the Canadian Bank Holiday weekend, so the hotel is busy with events. We decided to get away from the excesses of opulent living and go sightseeing for the day. An hour's drive away is the Saguenay St. Lawrence Marine Park.
We're at St. Catherine's and we're waiting to board the boat to go whale watching.
It's a 3-hour circular boat tour and we are assured that we will see some whales. The boat arrives on time and departs immediately.
So part of the money that you spend on souvenirs will go directly to research on whales.
Time to relax before we reach the location of the whales. We are looking for beluga and minke whales. It's not long before we get our first sighting, but it's a lone seal. Other boats gather in the area. Engines are stopped, people gather on the decks in anticipation of sighting a whale. For a few split seconds they surface, just enough time to identify that it is a minke whale. This is a unique marine park environment. The field is connected to fresh water at one end and the sea at the other. The guide is very enthusiastic and keeps us informed throughout the trip. 4 million years ago, during the geological formation of the Canadian Shield, the Saguenay Field was formed following successive glaciations that dug deeply into its natural bed. The time for contemplation soon passes. It's back to the hotel for the evening meal. It's about a 2-hour drive from La Malbaie to Quebec. It's Monday the 27th of June. We're on our way to Quebec. This is the pretty village of Saint Irene. Being a Monday morning and a French province, the cafe was closed, so we took a quick peek at this pretty little church before moving on.
We're in Quebec City and we're staying at the Chateau Frontenac.
The hotel was built in 1893 as a French-style chateau. It has 615 rooms, 3 restaurants and boutique shopping. Historic tours take place every hour and there's always something interesting to see in the foyer. There is an abundance of magnificent architecture and a maze of cobbled streets. Europeans first settled here in 1609, and throughout its 400-year history, Quebec City has been the focus of political struggle between the British and the French, a battle that still rages in the home of French separatism. Just outside our hotel is the funicular. Some people prefer to try the breakneck stairs. The quick ride leads us to the Rue de Petit Champlain, the oldest street in North America. Beyond are the banks of the busy St. Lawrence. Various ferries as well as large cargo ships pass by. Seeing children bathing and 30-degree heat makes us head for refreshments.
Yeah, little piggies again. We've stopped to have an ice cream because we're trying to find a naval museum that's free admission, and we haven't been able to find it yet.
A very short while later we find the sign. The museum details marine history since the turn of the century. During the Second World War, Britain depended on merchant shipping cargo from Canada to support the war effort. The Battle of the Gulf of St. Lawrence saw German U-boats within 300 kilometres of Quebec. The bronze statue of a sailor is a memorial to the Canadian merchant seamen who lost their lives in the Second World War. The time really goes quickly, and before we know it, we are packing to go home. We drive direct from Quebec to Montreal to catch our evening flight back to the UK.